Today on The Sunday Stupid, a man tells us about the moon.
Mainstream science teaches that the moon is 238,000 miles from Earth.
A couple of chavs film a police car. And Godless Girl sparks up in something called a Uber. All that on today's Thriller Lifetime episode of The Sunday Stupid. Yes, how do, dearest viewer, and welcome back to my little corner of the YouTubies. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, if you'll just permit me, and please like, share, comment, etc, etc. You know the drill by now. Thank you very much. Big news, I've got a Patreon account. Yes, little old me has got a Patreon account. Link is in the description below. All donations will go to helping me buy better equipment so I can churn out better quality videos. It might also, if there's any change left, get me a better chair than this rubbish thing that I'm sat on. Anyway, back to today's video, and this man has got 3 problems with the heliocentric model. Wow, grand intro with grand music. Not as good as my intro though.
Hello, truth seekers all over the world. This is Matthew Beavers with Back to the Covenant. Hope you're having an amazing day wherever you're at in the world.
Hello, yes, I'm having an amazing day on our beautiful globe Earth.
So in this video, I want to look at 3 things that mainstream science claims and or teaches, and let's test them to see if they are true and they happen in real life. So let's jump right into it. Number 1. Mainstream science teaches that the sun is 93 million miles away from Earth. So let's examine this claim, shall we?
Wow, a flat earther fact-checking. Wonders will never cease.
So I'm going to show 2 clips that I took using my Nikon P900 Super Zoom camera.
Yes, the flat earther's camera of choice. Why did they never use a telescope?
First clip was on St. George Island in Florida at sunrise. Then the second clip was in Ellijay, Georgia in the mountains at sunset.
Yep, so far so good. Clouds moving in front of the sun, and even a dicky bird does a bit of photo bombing there. So, where's your problem with the heliocentric model? I'm sure you're going to tell us soon, I hope. And have you ever heard of a solar filter?
After looking at those 2 clips of me zooming way in to see a close-up of the sun, does it really make sense to think and believe that the sun is 93 million miles away?
So, you took a video of the sun and sun is not 93 million miles away. Right. Did you know that you yourself could measure the distance to the sun using a bit of maths and the transit of Venus? Right. What's your second problem with a heliocentric model?
Number 2. Mainstream science teaches that the moon is 238,000 miles from Earth.
Well, it's actually an average of 238,900 miles, but we'll let you off.
The next clip I'm going to show will be me zooming in to see a close-up of the moon where I live in North Georgia.
Time to break out that Nikon P900 again. Again, a beautiful image, I must admit. Now, what exactly is your problem?
After seeing a nice close-up of the moon, does it make sense to hold on to the belief that the moon is 238,000 miles away like mainstream science teaches? We have to remember that NASA told us during their so-called moon missions that
Moon landing in Aya. Oh, I might have known.
it took the astronauts 3 days in their spacecraft to get to the moon.
Oh, this old chestnut. Right. When Apollo 11 got into Earth's orbit, it made sure everything was fine and dandy and fired the third stage. But this third stage only lasted about 5 minutes. So when that burn finished, Earth's gravity took over and tried pulling them back in, slowing the rocket down, and that's why it took 3 days to reach the moon. It's kind of like, you know, when you throw a tennis ball up into the air, it accelerates at first, slows down, comes to a stop, and then eventually falls back towards the Earth. That's kind of what happened with Apollo 11.
Is it really possible to zoom in on the moon like I did when it took Buzz and Neil 3 days to travel there? No.
What? You're comparing Apollo 11 and why it took 3 days to reach the moon to you taking a video of the moon? I'm confused. You better get to number 3 and pretty quick, and you better start making some sense, lad.
Number 3. Mainstream science teaches that the Earth has gases in its atmosphere and it's next to a vacuum without containment.
Oh, no, mainstream science doesn't teach that at all. Stop misrepresenting science, you Burke.
This is one of the biggest problems for the heliocentric model that can be easily debunked and disproved. You need containment for the gas pressure in the Earth's atmosphere.
It is atmospheric pressure, not gas pressure. Gas pressure and atmospheric pressure are two different things. And we do have containment. Us normal people call it gravity. That's why we have a pressure gradient on this bloody planet. It starts at 14.7 psi and goes all the way up, all the way up, all the way up until practically bloody zero. Is it sinking in yet? And don't you dare mention the second law of thermodynamics. I'm getting angry now.
So I couldn't mention the second law of thermodynamics here, but
You mentioned it, didn't you? Just to wind me up. I'm deeply disappointed. Now, for the final time, the Earth is not an isolated system. Got it? Good. Now, I'm going to calm myself now and relax and watch some chavs audit a police station. Ooh.
So we've got a grand entrance here for our boys in black.
I do hope you're being sarcastic there.
We're having a chat with Scarce Audits.
Audits. Now that is funny.
Go on. Go on.
Excuse me. It's police car park.
Let's speed this crap up, shall we, and see if we can get to any juicy bits.
Lost the wheel trim there.
How very observant of you, Mr. Chav. Have you ever considered a career in the police force?
Yep.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Do you mind if you've not got any business here, can I ask you to step outside?
Why? It's open to the public.
This station isn't now.
That yellow phone is.
The yellow phone is. If you're using the phone, that's fine. If not...
How do you know I wasn't?
Because you've just walked in to the car park?
Because you just said you don't need it.
I haven't even spoke to you. I just said you lost the wheel trim.
Okay.
I think you're mistaken with someone else.
Right.
Me.
Do you need help with anything?
No, not personally, no, I'm okay.
So if you don't need the police for anything and it's not open to the public, why don't you just leave?
I'm okay.
Any of your friends?
You should ask them.
Because this is a secure building, or it's supposed to be.
Police station.
Yeah.
Wow, your powers of observation really do you credit.
Yep. This one isn't open to the public anymore. The phone is. If you need to use the phone, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Are you understanding what the police officer is saying now, Mr. Chav? What he's saying is, if you don't need us, why don't you move along? In other words, off.
But if you don't need us for anything else...
I don't need you, I know.
Okay. Okay, well that's fine then. Absolutely no issues at all.
Okay.
But this area is fine, obviously to use the phone. The rear of the yard is a private police area. Okay?
If you say so.
I'm just going to tell you that's the case, mate. Okay?
Yeah, but you
Well,
can't.
I'll there in a second.
You can't just make it up.
Okay, well I'd rather you didn't.
You can't just make it up.
It's becoming clear now. Frauditors and chavs like yourself are just there to antagonise the police. Am I right?
There has to be some type of signs or something.
I agree. There should be a sign there, shouldn't there? Like there should be a sign next to a bonfire telling me not to stick my John Thomas in it.
So this is the famous yellow phone. So whether or not it works, I don't know.
Well, Mr. Chav, why don't you test it and find out?
All the body-worn cameras are going on and off. On and off.
So, public area is fine.
What was that sound I heard a minute ago?
Probably the sound of the voices in your head telling you to move along and stop antagonising police officers.
Sounded like a body cam.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
No one want to tell us they've got the body cam done.
Yeah, we are indeed, yes.
Mister?
As it stands, not
Excuse me.
they just want to have a little
Body cam on there.
We back out
the personal space, mate. There's enough room, mate, so don't try that bullshit, mate.
Well, that's not 2 metres, is it? It's more like half that distance.
There are no signs.
That's not going to work. I'll tell you that, Scott. Do you want to do something? Good. Do you want to identify yourself? Go on, identify yourself, mate.
You're recording as you see, so...
I want to put a freedom of information request for that.
So why don't you do it then, Mr. Chavy Frauditor? Do you know, I've never seen a video where a frauditor has put in a freedom of information request on a police video. Funny that.
My body cam's on.
Your subject access warrant?
Sound and audio.
You going to tell me?
Yeah, I understand, but
No?
The Merseyside.
I thought you don't have to speak to the public.
you've
got your job role.
So why does he have to speak to you? You're not reporting a crime. You don't have any problems with anything. You don't need the police for anything. So why does he have to speak to you?
No. It's on, you know, your policy states you're meant to inform me.
Green.
Code of practice? No. You not learn nothing when, you know, you're being taught by college of policing?
I think the police officer is doing exactly the right thing, whether it's policy or not. A member of the public is trying to antagonise him, and he is just standing there in silence. It's pretty much what I'd do.
No.
Not going to speak.
You just all go to the same Anyway.
Mr. Chav there is bothered by a little wasp.
The wasp. The wasp's getting attacked by the wasp. I don't think it works.
So why don't you test it to see if it works? Or do you need a sign?
Hey up. You alright, lads? Just wondering, yeah? I've heard a lot about this like Matrix police and stuff like that. Could you tell me what it is? Because I'm not from around here, as you can imagine.
You can Google it, mate. Just go online, go onto the Merseyside Police website, and it'll tell you all about it.
I can't read. That's the problem.
And now you're just taking the eye for bliss. Typical, really. Anyway, we're going to come back to Mr. Chav at a later date because he accuses the police of some sort of ism. And we're going to move on now to Godless Girl, who is an abhorrent human being, and she sparks up in an Uber just to be rebellious. Yeah, really, really funny lighting a fag in somebody else's car, isn't it? What about future passengers? Oh, you're so rebellious.
I can smoke cigarettes in here?
No, but if you need to, you go ahead.
Oh, I thought it was okay because you smoke weed in here.
Nah, I don't smoke weed in here.
You think I'm stupid? You think I don't know what fucking marijuana smells like? What the fuck?
Well, you are speaking like you smoke an awful lot of it.
I don't know, you could be smart.
Huh?
Not from from smoking you're not from smoking a cigarette in my car, though.
Okay, I'll throw it out.
Why would you fire up a cigarette in my car?
What?
Why would you smoke a cigarette in
Calm
my
down,
car?
sir.
Well, you've just been smoking a cigarette in his car. No wonder he's a bit annoyed.
I'm not gonna let anyone smoke a cigarette in my car. Get out.
Oh, I guess he's not completing our trip, Kevin, so we'll talk to Uber.
See, told you, what an abhorrent human being she really is. Anyway, we're going to move on to our final video now, and this is a Karen that gets owned because she has something attached to her car that shouldn't really be there. It's very satisfying to see a Karen getting owned. And not even a thank you. What an ignorant cow. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, please join me again this coming Wednesday at 8 PM for a Wacky Wednesday video, and again at 8 PM on Sunday for a Sunday Stupid video. Please don't forget the Patreon link below, and I will see you very soon. Ta-ra for a bit.